We've heard a lot about ChatGPT and all of these things, but ever wondered why do we even have them in the first place? What exactly is the intent of having such tools? Okay, let's quickly have a look at a scenario. Have you ever felt unheard? A situation where you actually wanted to let your heart out and you never got a friendly person and on the other side ready to listen to your conversation and, apart from just listening, respond to you in a favorable way with factual reasoning, logical reasoning, and also maybe suggestive approach or something that would kind of like pull you out of a situation, pull you out, give you a solution for a specific problem, or maybe make your way more easier. Well, that's a situation that is not very, not very unique. It's quite common that we often feel left alone when it comes to answering all the questions that we have. That's the situation that we have, graphically defined in this presentation, moving towards a solution that we already have in place today. And thanks to OpenAI for that. So OpenAI is the company that took the initiative and worked on the idea of generating an LLM, that's a large language model, on which we'll have further discussion later on. But they created this, which has the capacity to answer back to to answer back in a human tone to a human interaction. So we no longer would be getting robotic responses for our questions that we used to ask so far. We will now have more altered, more tailored, more reasonable and correctly fancied, toned, feeling felt, emotion filled, aromatic response based on the necessity of our questions, solutions. Right. So how does it do that? Well, that's exactly what a GPT is. It's a generative, pre-trained, and I forgot what the T is. Oh yeah, that's a transformer. So it basically is already trained on how to listen, process, and react to human interactions and human queries or conversations. And the way it responds to our questions or queries or to our inputs, it has the capacity to transform its response from less robotic to more human. And it also ensures, with its smart inbuilt training, pre-training models, it ensures that it totally, up to an extent, at least, if not accurate, then at least up to an approximity of more than 80% matches with the tone, with the kind of response, with the persona of the input that you have given to it. Let's look at an example. Yeah, that's exactly what a GPT stands for. We now know that. Okay, right before we move directly into an example, let's learn about the history of GPTs, how many GPTs we had when it came to ChatGPT. We initiated from 1.0 in 2018, and then 2 in 19, 3 in 20, and 3.5 in 22. This is the free version that we have available, and that's exactly what we'll be using in the entire tutorial series. But the furthermore version 4 is a paid one, and the advanced training module that we'll be having on this channel, we'll be talking majorly about that. But for this specific one, we're only going to be dealing with 3.5, and that's free. Now let's go ahead and look at the example. All right. So whenever we tend to operate with these LLMs, these large language models, we only depend on the text that we're giving to it, the kind of input that goes into the console, and the way it processes it before giving us an output. So if we are looking for an output that is equivalent, or maybe that is at least close to the satisfaction level of our expectation, we are expected by the LLM to give enough details, even associate examples for it to understand the entire situation and to respond to us in a similar fancy or in a given format, right? So let's first look at the basic approach. If we go ahead and give it a very general prompt stating that what is an apple, it'll just say apple is a fruit and blah, 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 blah. So that's a general prompting. But if we go ahead and specify like this, what is an apple, clearly define its characteristics, also explain why is it red in color. So here we are trying to give it filters. We are trying to reduce the huge summarized response that we are going to get from ChatGPT into a less summarized and criteria-based briefed. That's the response that will be, mastered in our classes, and that's exactly what we will be achieving at the end of our tutorials as prompt engineers. Okay, so these texts that we give to these LLMs, these are prompts. And once we reach the mastery level of these prompts, we will be kind of like at the beginner stage of being prompt engineers. Another example in the creative aspect where we can actually make massive use of ChatGPT. Ignore the background noises, please. I'm standing on my roof, and right here I see a lot of noises coming from all around, even the bats and even the peacocks. So please ignore all of that. I gave it a prompt to write a poem on 2 apples, and I asked it to make it rhythmic while also ensuring that it's fun to read. And this is what it gave me. I'm an apple, my color is red. For all doctors, I'm a threat. And then that goes more into a rap way. But yeah, that's the kind of response it will give us based on the prompt that we give to it and the way we would want the persona to be. So we'll talk about all of these elements: persona, the criteria, the prompting, the input, the processing, the output, the LLMs, the alternates, and everything in our tutorials. So be sure that you're connected in the entire series so that you get to learn a lot, and feel free to drop your queries in the comment section and also in our email that will be provided to you in the description of this video. So that's in a nutshell about how ChatGPT works, and there are innumerable ways that you can actually make use of ChatGPT, but quite a few to mention would be right here on the slide. Okay, I think that's fair enough and clear enough for all the audience who've been listening to this tutorial so far. If you've been sticking until the end of this last slide, then topics. I'm extremely thankful to you for being with me throughout the entire video. Let's connect again in our further tutorials. See ya.